Hey everyone, today we're going to break down the Millennial Revolution's investment workshop and turn it into a super simple, really powerful guide to investing, specifically for Canadians. We're going to cut through all the noise, all the jargon, and get right to what actually works so you can start building your wealth with some real confidence. Let's get into it.
You know, when you think about investing, what comes to mind? Is it these fast-talking experts on TV in expensive suits throwing around words you don't really understand? Yeah, you're not alone. There's this myth that to build wealth, you have to be some kind of financial wizard with a crystal ball. But what if I told you that's all just noise? This one sentence, this right here, cuts through all of that complexity. See, investing isn't about trying to predict the future. It's about a simple, repeatable, honestly kind of boring process. And that's the core idea we're going to build on today.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to prove to you that investing is actually easy. Then, we'll cover the only 3 rules you will ever need. After that, we'll talk about how to make sure your money is actually safe. And finally, we'll look at the incredible payoff of sticking to this simple plan long-term.
All right, first up, let's completely bust this myth that you need a PhD in finance to get ahead. The truth is, the most successful strategy is often the most simple one. Just look at the difference here. The financial news, the movies, they all sell this idea of complexity, right? They make it feel like a game that only experts can win. But the reality? Successful investing is a mind-numbingly regular, almost boring process. And that is fantastic news because it means anyone, and I mean anyone, can do.
So here's the most important mindset shift you can make. Stop trying to be a fortune teller. You're not supposed to predict the market. The author of our source material even admits they were totally wrong trying to guess what would happen after the 2016 election. If they had sold their stocks, they would have missed out on a huge rally. The winning move is to just be in the game, to participate in the overall growth of the economy, not to guess its next move.
Okay, now we're getting to the heart of the strategy. Everything you actually need to do day to day. It all boils down to just 3 simple, non-negotiable rules. If you can master these, you've pretty much mastered the entire game.
And here they are. Number 1, decide on your mix of investments. 2, keep that mix on track by rebalancing. And 3, be absolutely ruthless about avoiding fees. Now, I know these might sound like a bit of work, but stick with me, because we're going to show you how modern tools can pretty much automate all of this. Let's break them down.
Asset allocation. It sounds so technical, right? But all it means is deciding how much of your money goes into stocks, which have higher growth but more risk, and how much goes into bonds, which are more stable but have lower growth. That's it. And believe it or not, this one decision will have the biggest impact on how your money grows over time.
So, how do you decide? Well, it's pretty much just based on your timeline. If you've got a lot of time, say 15 years or more until you need the money, you can afford to be more aggressive, something like 80% in stocks. But as you get closer to retirement, you'll want to shift to a more conservative mix to protect what you've built. The key here is to make this decision based on cold, hard math, not on fear or greed.
I want you to forget about picking the hot new stock. Forget about trying to time the market. The only active skill you need is rebalancing. It's just a simple discipline that keeps your asset allocation, that really important decision we just talked about, right on track, no matter what crazy stuff the market is doing.
The rule is just so simple. You just rebalance to stay on target. When your stocks shoot up, you sell a few and buy some bonds. This automatically forces you to sell high and buy low without any emotion getting in the way. And yeah, this used to be a manual process, but like I said, today's tools have made this completely automatic for us.
And now for rule number 3, fees. Oh man, fees. They might seem small, like 1 or 2%, but over decades, they are absolutely devastating. This is not an exaggeration. They really are like 1,000 tiny termites just eating away at your portfolio day in and day out. Your mission is to get rid of them.
So how much is it possible to pay? How about this? This is the total amount in transaction fees, account fees, or transfer fees that the author of our source material has paid in their entire investment career. 0. Zilch. That has to be your goal too.
Okay, let's tackle a big one, safety. I mean, what happens if the company that's holding all your money just goes bankrupt? It's a totally valid fear, and thankfully, here in Canada, there's a really simple system to protect you.
In Canada, this is your safety net. It's called the CIPF, and it's basically investor insurance. Now, it's really important to understand what it does and doesn't do. It won't protect you if you make a bad investment and it goes to zero. But it does protect you if your brokerage firm goes under. Your assets are safe. And we're not talking about a tiny amount of coverage. It's up to $1 million per account type. So for the vast majority of investors, this provides complete peace of mind that your life savings won't just vanish because a company failed.
So how do you actually know if your brokerage is covered? Well, you don't just take their word for it. In fact, you shouldn't. You do a simple two-step check that literally anyone can do in about 60 seconds.
First thing you do, just scroll all the way to the bottom of the brokerage's homepage. Down in the fine print, you should see a little logo just like this one, saying they are a CIPF member. That's your first clue.
But listen, anyone can copy and paste a logo onto a website, right? So the final and most crucial step is to go directly to the official CIPF website. That's CIPF.ca and use their member directory. Type in the company's name. If they show up there, you know for sure they're legit and your money's protected. It is that simple.
All right, let's bring it all home. We've busted the myth that investing is hard, we've learned the 3 core rules, and we've figured out how to make sure our money is safe. So, what's the point? Where does all this lead? Here it is, your actual path forward. For us Canadians, this is simpler than it has ever been. You open an account with a low-cost brokerage like Questrade. And remember that whole rebalancing thing we talked about? You can actually skip doing it yourself. By just buying a single, all-in-one ETF, you own thousands of stocks and bonds from all over the world, and it rebalances for you, automatically. All you have to do is put money in consistently and then wait. Let time do the heavy lifting.
And you know, the point of all this isn't just to see numbers go up on a screen. This simple, repeatable strategy, this is the engine that powers financial independence. It's what allows you to, as the author's book title says, quit like a millionaire. It's about freedom.
So in the end, it really all comes down to this. The path isn't some big secret, and it's definitely not complex. It's built on simple discipline and consistency, not on being a genius. So the only real question left is, are you ready to take that first step?